Sean Strickland and Jared Cannonier was not a robbery. What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. And as you guys know, on this channel we break down everything UFC, everything MMA, everything combat sports. So if you want to hit that subscribe button right now and join before this thing really takes off. So obviously last night, what happened? Sean Strickland and Jared Cannonier faced off in the final UFC main event of the year. Sean Strickland coming off of his knockout loss to Alex Pereira, and Jared Cannonier coming off his unanimous decision loss to Israel Adesanya. Both that happened on the same night. So exactly 5 months later or so, both Sean and Jared both return and decide to fight. Now this was a split decision, which usually means that there's always going to be some sort of controversy around this fight, and we're going to get into what do I think won, how, why, etc. So let's break this down, but first let's talk about our sponsor, Audible. Audible is the place where you want to go when you want to read the best audio book. There's tons of books about MMA, boxing, including Michael Bisping's autobiography that he wrote just a couple years ago, Quitters Never Win. So if you're like me and are too lazy to read and just rather listen to it, you'll be getting a free trial while also supporting me. Go to www.audibletrial.com/JackWalter with 2 R's and receive a 30-day free trial. Alright, let's get into the breakdown. So this fight was a very close fight. Going into this, I had picked Jared Cannonier to win by knockout. Obviously, we all know Jared won by decision, but let's break down how close this decision was. We go into round 1, and this was probably one of the more closer rounds of the fight. I saw some people on Twitter giving it to Jared, some people giving it to Sean. I gave it to Sean because I think he was the one landing the more accurate shots, and also because of the whole clinch exchange. I gave round 1 to Sean Strickland. Round 2 was another close round, but I wound up giving it to Sean Strickland, and at this point, I think Jared's downfall here was the lack of volume. It was something that he talked about all fight week, but still had a problem with it not producing enough output. He would basically wait for Sean to do whatever he wanted, jab him, and would really never get anything going because Sean was also really good at evading. Whenever Jared would try to hit him in the head, Sean would just move slightly out of the way, and that's what makes Sean Strickland so good of a fighter. There isn't necessarily anything that really makes Sean good because Sean is very basic. He has that jab. He sometimes throws a teep to the body, and that's really it. I mean, you don't really see him throwing much kicks. He did throw a high kick at the end of the fight, but you're mostly expecting boxing. He's kind of like the Diaz brothers in a way. But what makes him actually so good is the fact that he spars so often that his timing is just ridiculous. It's better than a lot of the middleweight. He's used to getting just out of the way and still being able to hit you. And that's really what it was with Jared, and Jared was getting visibly frustrated. Now, round 3, in my opinion, is where this began to take a turn. Round 3 was a very, very close round. I gave it to Jared. I think Jared landed the better strikes in this round. And the 4th round is the round that I see a lot of people fighting over, debating over. I gave this round to Jared Cannonier specifically for the ending. In the beginning of the round, I thought Sean was winning, and then I think Jared ended the round very good. So I gave the 4th round to Jared. And at this point, Jared is doing something when he's in southpaw, which is something that I didn't really expect. I didn't expect 2 things, which I'm going to get to after we break down the rounds. But I think one of the most successful things that Jared did was throw that leg kick, that inside leg kick, that would kind of put Sean off balance. I think he should have utilized that shot a little more, maybe added something after. We see Alexander Volkanovski do this a lot, where he throws the inside kick and then he hits you with something. I think Jared should have done that a little bit more. And then we get to the 5th round, which in my opinion, I think is the clearest round to judge. You gotta give it to Jared Cannonier. Even though Sean did have some moments in this fight, I watched this fight twice now, and I think round 5, Sean did have a lot more moments. I noticed the second time I watched. However, I think Jared just undeniably landed the better shots. Obviously, you saw the nosebleed of Sean Strickland, but even besides the nosebleed, he landed a lot of 1-2s, and I think the reason Jared became more successful in these later rounds was because he let his hands go. Anytime he let his hands go, and even in the beginning of round 2, he was doing a lot better because he was letting his hands go, which is something that Jared struggles with. And I think Jared should have went to the body a little bit more. He did go for those leg kicks, which I said in my breakdown he should. So as you guys could tell, you guys don't have to be mathematicians to realize I had this 48-47 Jared Cannonier. Originally, the first time I watched it, I had it for Sean, rewatched it, paid closer attention because the first time I wasn't paying too much attention. So was this fight a robbery? Not at all. This fight was not a robbery. Guys, listen, you guys have to realize that there's a difference between a robbery and a close decision. Look, I am probably the last guy to say that something is a robbery. Last week, we had that robbery with Paddy Pimblett, a clear robbery. And I can't even remember the last time I called anything else a robbery. Maybe that John Jones-Dominic Reyes fight, which I stand to this day, went to Dominic Reyes. And look, I think people get wrapped up anytime that there's a close decision. Will jump up right away and say, robbery, robbery. That's not necessarily true all the time. People are saying that Sean O'Malley fight was a robbery. That fight was not at all robbery. Matter of fact, I scored it for Sean. And I think that Sean O'Malley fight is one of those things things where the more you look back at it, I think the more people are realizing how close that fight actually was and how Sean might have actually won that fight. Actually, the last robbery I ever said was the Zalgas and Magulov fight that happened last month against Charles Johnson. But the Dominic Reyes fight, I'll say that's at least one of the bigger robberies. You know, there's probably maybe some prelim fights that I've said are robberies, but you know what I mean. So I wanted to leave this for the end of the video. What did I think that Jared did good, and what did I think Sean did good? I already alluded to this, but Sean put the jab in jab merchant, and that's not no insult. I mean, that jab was landing all night. I think at range, Sean was doing better. I think it was up to Jared to get into range. Jared in the later rounds, I found, was able to let his hands go a little bit more and was able to get into the pocket. And what Jared Cannonier did good is, look, like I said in the beginning, it was very lackluster, but as the fight went on, he started doing better. He was in the southpaw stance, which I'm not sure if that was like something that there's a reason for that. Could have been to take away his jab, but he was in it for a lot longer than I expected. And I also am surprised that Jared was able to back up Sean so much. Not to take any credit away from Cannonier, but I wondered watching it, was this because of the Alex Bejeda fight? Alex knocked out Sean Strickland with one shot, because back then Sean was always the guy that pushed forward. Even he backed Alex Bejeda up. I was a little surprised to see that Jared was able to push him back so easy. So guys, what did you guys have this fight? This was a very close fight. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Doing a Q&A on Thursday. Every Thursday, comment your questions ahead of time and you'll see me answer. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one.